Welcome to OH-Brew. I'm Craig Morris and I like beer. And in this series, we'll be in search of Ohio's finest beers. With Ohio ranking 4th in craft beer production and already over 300 breweries, we have a lot of beer to drink. Today we'll be at the Stein Brewing Company, located on Main Street in Mount Vernon. We'll be talking to their owner, David Stein. He'll give us a background of how the brewery got started. And then the brewmaster, Andrew Shipp. He will talk to us about how the brewery process works and what kind of beers they have to offer. They also have a full menu and a beautiful place to stop and check out, and it's a great experience, and everyone will enjoy this. Then my favorite part, the sampling of the beers. We'll also talk to some of the guests and find out what their favorites are.
This episode of OH-Brew is sponsored by Beer and Ale Traveler. They'll drive you to drink in style. Let Beer and Ale Traveler plan your next brewery or winery tour. Choose from their pre-planned tours or sit down with Rick to customize a tour for your group. And remember, you don't have to drive yourself. Ride in comfort in their limo-type bus with 2 flat-screen TVs and a rockin' sound system. Need transportation for a concert, birthday, or bachelorette party? Whatever the occasion, call Rick to set it up.
Welcome to OH-Brew. Joining us today, David Stein of the Stein Brewing Company. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me. Welcome to Stein Brewing. Glad to be here.
Let's start. History of the brewery. History, some background of your business and how this all came about.
Like anybody, not anybody, but a lot of people through high school and college, and you got to make money and get jobs. Hospitality is the one career that is open for kids. So I started age 14 through 18 working my way making cues at Dairy Queen, and all the way through college, through bartending, front of the house manager, lead trainers to different various places, and even after college also had some hospitality jobs too. After college, like anybody else that played baseball through college, you kind of retire and you graduate to softball. And then there I had a really, really good buddy from college also that played softball that we turned and became bowlers together. And long story short, we then created a product for the bars and restaurants that created a business out of that model.
Tell us about this.
So that's a beer tube. A lot of people see them at places like Quaker Steak and Lube or other different places like that. Bartenders fill it up, take it to the table, it keeps it colder than a pitcher. And back in 2000, so we started in 2005, and in 2017 we sold it to another company. But with those 12 years, all I dealt with was bars and restaurants and beer wholesalers and a lot of people in the industry. So putting my love of hospitality and love of beer together, and then with the last name, kind of made sense that your next step after you do something next would be open up a bar and restaurant. So that's where we are now today.
All right. Well, how did we show up in Mount Vernon, Ohio?
I really liked what was going on in downtown Mount Vernon. There's a huge revitalization going on here, not only with this building itself and this old historic opera house, but throughout the town. We have really one of the nicer small towns you're going to get throughout the state of Ohio. So I wanted to be part of that movement, and then space opened up here in this big historic Woodward Opera House space. And kind of when I walked in, I could envision what it was going to be, and it's really such a unique setup. I'm not sure it's like any other really brewery restaurant in the state of Ohio.
I don't think so. I've been to a bunch, and I don't think so at all.
And I've been to a lot too, and there's a lot of great ones out there, and it's just a different atmosphere and feel than a lot of other ones. It's really a special place.
As far as the building goes, I mean, you've got, 3-4 different areas of the building?
Yeah.
It's kind of spread out a little bit, but it's still all encompassed under
It's not
roof.
exactly a restaurant or an owner's delight in terms of logistics, but we make it work really well. This building is the oldest authentic opera house in the eastern half of the United States. I think it's actually in the entire country. It used to be one in Philadelphia, and this building, when it did its renovation, it used as many authentic parts as possible to qualify, like the same hardwood floors, the same ceiling wood, and a lot of the doors and frames and this and that. They used as much authentically as they could. I believe the one in Philadelphia changed a lot, so it lost its status as being officially authentic. So this opened up it officially opened up in early January, and it was originally built in 1851.
Food. You have your own chef.
Yes. No, I was lucky enough to kind of backtrack. Went to Bishop Watterson in Columbus, Ohio, and this girl named Erin Stevens, her family moved into our high school our sophomore year, and Stein and Stevens are pretty close, and so we sat in front of each other, or she sat in front of me in homeroom for 3 straight years of high school, and I probably have tortured her probably a little too much, that she would say, but we became really good friends. And when I wanted to do this, of all the jobs I had, I worked some in the kitchen, and I knew the restaurant would be a very big part of what I was trying to do here in Mount Vernon. Was a very big piece that I didn't have all the answers to. And so one thing I've learned throughout my other businesses is find somebody who knows the right answers. I'm not afraid to admit when you don't know something.
And she's got a pretty awesome background.
Yeah, no, so she started hospitality same when she was really young, worked through the Cameron Mitchell restaurants under Cameron, a bunch of other stuff. She most recently was the head of Mappery Stadium, which is the home of the Columbus Crew. So she was the head chef for the entire stadium. Did all the meal planning for all the suites and everything else on big game days. I mean, she did Rock on the Range concerts, so she's fed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. So I'm just blessed to catch her at the right time.
The appetizers that we put out today were some of our fan favorites. The smoked buffalo bacon mozzarella is the king of the hill. That is fresh buffalo mozzarella wrapped in lightly cured bacon, deep fried with panko, and it just kind of melts in your mouth and has this beautiful smoked flavor to it. The most jaw-dropping appetizer that we have is the pulled pork nachos, which we put out today. We call them smokehouse nachos. And it comes with chili, pork, cheese, sour cream, house queso sauce, and it's just piled high on a tray that could probably feed 4 or 5 people. It's a lot of fun, and everybody just smiles when it comes to the table. And we gave a little sample of the pig wings. That's one of our most popular entrees. It is 4 very large and generous pork shanks that we deep fry after being smoked for 8 hours. They are something special.
How did you find your brewmaster?
Andrew, I've known Andrew for probably 6-7 years, and he used to work at the Mount Vernon Country Club, and he was just so knowledgeable about beer and talked about beer and all these things. It really intrigued me when we married the concept of our smart brew system with that he was the perfect person to be able to execute it, and he's done nothing but take the ball and run. It's been wonderful to watch, all the way to the fact that we just entered the Ohio Craft Beer Cup, and the beer that's sitting right here, the Colonel Andrew, actually got a bronze medal in the brown dark ale category, which we haven't even been brewing for a full year, so I thought that was pretty special that we were able to actually get an award for that. One of the special, unique things we do here is I kind of have 2 categories, and one of the interesting things I like to do when I go to different breweries is just to ask them how they come up with some of their names and just the quirks of because a lot of times it's their personality. So
and this town here has a lot of history.
There is, and the funny part is there's not a giant beer history of Mount Vernon. The last actual active brewer was in 1878. But we like to do a lot of the history of name them after a lot of the companies and people that really made Knox County what it is today. A lot of our stuff isn't necessarily Prohibition, but it is right around that Prohibition style. And one of the quirky facts about here is exactly where our beer tanks are. The women's temperance movement that was anchored in Knox County literally had their office exactly in the same space, urban legend has it, as where our beer tanks are. So that's another interesting little fun fact of something we learned.
Earlier today, you mentioned something about an urban legend about how they transported some of the locals away from here to...
Yeah, and these are stories that I don't know that are 100% confirmed, but I've heard them.
Well, somebody had to make them up.
I mean,
if they made them up, they're worth retelling.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, even actually we have a funny beer called Drag It Off Hamtramck. There was a horse and carriage that the horse physically died on the street, and the police officer at the time couldn't spell Hamtramck, so told the guy because the street around the corner was Gay Street, said can you drag it off Hamtramck to Gay? So then he could write his police report, literally, so he could write Gay Street because he knew how to spell that, but not Hamtramck. So we have a beer named after that urban legend as well. But going to the other one was, rumor has it back in the late 1800s when when Mount Vernon and another town called Fredericktown, not too far from here, were both growing in population. I guess they were both vying for kind of the county seat. And at the time, there was, from things that I've read and learned, there was around 37 different taverns and bars throughout right in the Mount Vernon area. And back then, which the temperance movement was proven one of the main reasons they did it, was a lot of these husbands after work would go have lots of beverages after work and then wash, rinse, repeat, do it again the next night. And I think the ladies were getting a little tired of the guys always being away. So one of the things that happened was when Mount Vernon was going for the county seat, they allegedly heard that the officials were going to be visiting Fredericktown. So they gathered a lot of the town drunks per se and dropped them off in Fredericktown before. And then magically enough, Mount Vernon got voted the county seat as opposed to Fredericktown. So I've heard that story a couple different times, so it's an urban legend enough that I think enough people talk about it. I don't know if there's anything official to it, but Mount Vernon is a lot bigger right now than Fredericktown, but Fredericktown's a great town.
All right. Well, thanks for the great stories, Dave. Next, we're going to head off to the brewing area, and we're going to talk to Andrew Shipp, their head brewmaster. Welcome back to O-Brew. Joining me on this segment, brewmaster Andrew Shipp. Welcome to O-Brew, Andrew.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
We got some beers in front of us, but tell us about the stuff you do here at Stein Brewing Company.
Well, I'm one of the main brewers here, and we luckily got a system that we don't actually do the full mash here. We outsource our first part of the beer, which is the wort. We get the wort in, and we top it off with the rest. We have the yeast food, finings, the anti-foam, then we add all the flavoring, the dry hops, and then any flavoring we want to do, we have the ability to do that, and everything is mechanical. So we do a lot of push buttons. They lets us know when we need to add finings, if we want to add hops. Do you want to dry hop? Do you want to fine? Check your carbonation. I can add carbonation anytime I want if our carbonation is not to the right point where we need to be. And one of the good things about this is I can sit at home. And like if I do a dry hop in the night, and let's say 2 days later I'm off that day from work and I need to yeast dump or do any type of thing from the system, I can actually do it from home. So it makes it pretty nice.
When we log in remotely, we take the same exact screen that's here. So we get real-time monitoring on like our CO2 line, whether it's open or closing the valves, and then our glycol units, what temperature they're at, which tanks they're pumping to. So tank 1 has its own dedicated glycol chiller. Tanks 2 and 3 share one. So we're able to kind of crash cool a little bit more expedited on tank 1. Tank 2 and 3 take a little more patience. When we go in here, we have 3 basic controls. We have our kind of set steps that we program in for each batch. Stop 1 on kind of the first area up here. We can stop at any time if we need to. We can also confirm and move on to the next step. We can check things. And we can also set manual timers on each part. So we want to crash cool for 24 hours, regardless of whether we're here or not. Fire it up. Let it go. The timer will kind of stop. When the crash cooling gets down, the timer, it'll hold that temperature and it'll stop running through. Now we can also jump in and manual control things. So that's if we need to shift the batch over from one fermenter to the other, whether we want to do an extra yeast dump, whether we want to do a second cleaning cycle, all different kinds of options. And we can jump into there and start all of our mix controls. And then finally on the last part of the screen here is where we just get into our cleaning cycles. Rinse, sanitize, wash, things like that.
Let's talk about the brewing capacity
Okay.
that is available here.
We have 3 10-barrel systems, which will do, full batch will do about 21, 22 half-barrel kegs. And what we don't use 30-liter disposables because we don't have the space downstairs to have a keg washing station or the storage unit for anything for kegs. So we order the kegs in probably about a week and a half before we need them. They show up, we keg them all, they're gone, and then we store them, and then the process keeps going. We can do anywhere from 3 to 4 beers depending on size and how long it brews for a month.
What's the longest beer?
Our longest beer we've done so far, we've had an Imperial Stout called the Temperance Crusader. It's about 25 days start to finish.
Now that kind of creates a backlog a little bit to your system or not?
No, not really, because
No?
it's with our system and then the cleaning. I mean, I can literally, when I leave at night, I can start the cleaning process, and when I come in the next morning, everything's completely clean.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
State-of-the-art facility.
Yes, it
here.
is. State-of-the-art facility, state-of-the-art system.
No doubt. One thing we haven't touched on is kind of your background. How did you become a brewmaster?
Well, actually, I met the owner, Dave, at the country club where I worked, and he asked me, so do you want to come brew beer? And I'm like, of course. Who doesn't want to brew beer? I don't have a lot of experience. I never did any home brewing or anything like that. Because with our system, we don't really need a lot of that type of work. It's just you have to go and do training. So we went up to Michigan. It was one of the first systems that they had up there.
You
and
had
we
to
went
go
up,
there?
We went up there a couple weekends and just basically, he showed us how to do the process. I put batches on the first day I was there and basically showed me the system, how it works and what we needed to do. And it's exciting. It's exciting to sit there and think of a beer and change it. Our Aerial Ale, which are number 8, it only called for a certain amount of hops, and I added a little bit more than what I was supposed to add, and everybody loves it. It's a real smooth pale ale. Just that experience where you can sit there, I can change a little bit of this and how the beer comes out, which is, we have not brewed a beer that anybody hates.
Well, it's time for my favorite segment of the show, and that is sampling of all the beers. Even though I've been sampling this nice
Rosal Kinsman. It's our 11% Imperial IPA.
Oh, and it is tasty. Let's get down to sampling of the beers.
Okay.
My favorite part of the show. Tasting beer. Andrew, what do we got to taste?
Well, we got our little flight catalog here.
Little cheat sheet.
Yep. First one we got is our Hazy Juicy IPA. It's one of our staples here at SBC.
And this is one of your self-distributing.
I'm going to taste it with you.
Oh, well,
Yes.
go ahead.
Oh,
Self-distributing.
We have this one in 2 spots right now, in Newark and Jacktown, Ohio.
People who know me. Juicy. Very juicy. So, what do we got in this? What's it taste? Flavor profile.
Well, we actually have 3 different hops in it. We have Amarillo, Citra, and Simcoe, which basically the citrusy hops for the hop world out there. We also have grapefruit peel and orange peel.
Grapefruit peel, like real grapefruit peel?
Yes, real grapefruit shredded up, and then we put it in there with the whole tank.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to the Becca Blueberry Kolsch.
Yes, this is also one of our other staples.
Okay.
This is our sister to the domestic beer, because we're trying to get people to get away from the Bud Lights, Miller Lights, Coors Lights. We start them off with our Becca Kolsch. We also have it in blueberry as well.
So do you put blueberries in it too?
No, sir. Well, we actually do. There's actually a couple women that come in here and they want blueberries in it.
Didn't want to offend you.
No, that's okay.
Let's try it. I get it. Who's Becca?
Becca is actually the owner's grandmother.
Okay.
We
I
didn't
like
want to
that.
do the old, because there's a lot of fruity beers out there, and we didn't want to overpower with the blueberries. So
It's
just
not
basically
overpowered. It's got a
No,
little bit, just a slight taste
on the
of
back end.
Yeah. Next one. Ariel Ale.
This is actually our with the Aero Corporation here in town,
Okay.
and we named it after. We try to stick to a lot of our names go with our Mount Vernon theme. The owner wants to stick with stay local, drink
A
local.
little bit of history,
Yeah.
a little bit of people that you know type deal.
Yep. Very
Tasty.
smooth, not too hoppy.
No.
Even though I did add more hops than what the recipe called for, because I wanted to change it up a little bit from what we had.
All right. I like that. Gonna take another sip. Next one. CGC. C stands for Craig.
Sure.
No.
No.
Okay.
C&G Cooper was a sawmill back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, sawmill here in town, actually where Siemens is. There was an old sawmill there, and we didn't know if we could call it the C&G Cooper sawmill, so we just did the CGC. It's our Imperial APA, which has 84 IBUs. It's loaded up with 20 pounds of hops in it. It's our bitiest beer that we have today.
Bitey meaning?
Like really big bite. Even though our Roast All Kinsman has 118 IBUs, this one has 84, but you get more of the hop flavor. With this one, the more with our Roast All Kinsman, you get more of the Imperial alcohol taste.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you enjoy hops, then this is one of our biggest beers that we have.
Well, it's, what's not to like about hops?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in. I'm in on that one. And then the Colonial Andrew.
Colonel Andrew.
Oh. I read wrong.
It's okay.
It don't matter. After this point in time,
after 6 beers so far,
yeah,
and you're
sampling.
starting to flight,
I'm starting to, But hey, good stuff so far. I can understand why everyone that would come here would say, "There's not a beer I don't like," because I have not met
we
one yet.
appreciate that. All our beers are smooth. I'm not a big I'm not a big dark beer fan because of the whole smoothness. But we did a couple. Brown ales and stouts and stuff, and they're really smooth, which I can enjoy. This one actually won bronze medal at the Ohio Beer Cup a couple weeks ago out of Dayton. We got 3rd place, which is pretty nice for being a under a year old brewery.
All right, now that we sampled all those, I understand all your beers are awesome tasting beers. I'm going to ask you a question.
You're going to ask me my favorite, aren't you? That's what
No,
you're
I'm not.
gonna do?
I'm not going to ask you your favorite. I'm going to ask you the first craft beer you ever drank that you liked.
Craft beer or just
no,
any beer in general?
no. Those. See, now if we were to ask David, I know his answer would be.
I heard his answer, yes.
I didn't like his answer at all, so I'm not going to repeat it. However, I expect a whole lot from you. Even though he's the owner, love him dearly, but craft beer.
Man, anything other than domestic. It might be a Blue Moon.
Blue Moon.
If I'm really thinking back, because I literally thought about this about a month or so ago. What's my first craft beer?
Please tell me without the orange peel. The orange.
See, I had it with the orange peel.
Oh, okay.
You have it at the end. It's been soaking in that Blue Moon all day. Then you drink it all, then you eat it. And you have to get another one because the citrusy at the end was really good.
Was it a tall one or a small one?
Look at me. Am I going to drink a small beer?
Yeah, it's just kind of like food with me.
Exactly.
Am I going to eat a lot of food or am I going to eat a little food? You're a tall guy, a little thinner. I'm a little short guy, a little stockier.
When I go out, people ask me, do you want a small one or a big one? I'm like, just give them that look. They're like, I'll bring you a big one.
There you go. Well, thanks for letting us taste your.
Oh no, we appreciate it.
Your beers, they're awesome.
Thank you.
Gotta try them.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's time to talk to the patrons. And a brand new patron to the Stein Brewing Company is Jim. Jim, tell us what attracted you to the Stein Brewing.
My wife and I wanted to stop in for a while. We grew up in Knox County, lived in North Carolina for about 20 years. Around a lot of great beer, and moving back to Granville last year, seeing a place near where we grew up open a brewery, we wanted to come try it out. So happened to be able to swing by today and stopped in.
What kind of beer did you start with?
Started the CVC Imperial APA. It was an APA. It was American Pale Ale. Just
Okay. All right.
hopped up, more of an imperial. And then tried the Ariel Pale Ale.
Okay. What'd you think so far?
I thought it was awesome. The only two I've had from here. First time I've been able to stop in.
So you'll be back? Bring your wife?
Yeah, definitely. But we wanted to stop in for a long time, but she's up here a lot for work sometimes. So usually when she goes back to Granville, she doesn't want to come back up.
All right.
So being able to drive through was a good chance to stop by and finally try some of the beers, and they were great.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us today. Well, as promised, we always talk to patrons. And these three ladies here all know each other because they are all nurses. I don't know about any of you, but nurses scare me. And there's a reason why nurses scare me is because, well, they like to drink beer. Take that back. I like them because they like to drink beer. Anyway, what are you drinking? Why do you like this place? Why do you hang out here?
The New England version IPA. I absolutely love it. Nice little citrus kick. And the environment here is wonderful for us to socialize and vent and have girl time.
All right. Girl time is always important.
Yes.
How about you?
How about I?
What are you drinking?
It's the
Shandy.
The
Yes,
shandy?
Shandy.
Yep,
Okay.
and it's very good. It's very light, refreshing, not real heavy. Food is great. The team makes sure that customer service is superb. They always
So
take
the
care of
hanging pretzel is a favorite?
it. That is a favorite, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it
How about
is.
you?
I'm drinking the same thing she is, the shandy.
Oh, so you guys go for the hard stuff right out of the get-go. Now you know why they're nurses and why they like to hang out at good places like the Stein Brewing Company
Yes.
to enjoy some fabulous beer, some girl time, and some fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Get some laughs in.
Yeah.
No.
We'll drink to that.
Get out of here, Craig.
We'll drink to that. Cheers.
Oh, wait. How did I get a beer? All right, as promised, we always talk to a lot of patrons every time we go to places with OH-Brew, and we're at the Stein Brewing Company, and these gentlemen here, well, it looks like they're enjoying some awesome food, which they offer here, and, well, they've got some samples. Emily, can you give me something like maybe a napkin, a straw, and I'm going to join these guys here. Fork, anything? And I'm going to join these guys because they've got some delicious food. What did you guys order here?
Well, it's wing night tonight, so we're going to partake of the wings. And so I've just got Carolina Gold on the right and traditional on the left.
Okay, and this stuff here?
And this is a flight's appetizer. Yeah, so that was their AED basket.
Okay.
So okay.
Cheese curds, jalapenos,
Oh.
and pickles.
Cheese curds.
Yeah.
Fried
Can't go
cheese
wrong
curds.
with
You can't
cheese
go.
curds.
No, you can't.
No. Anything cheese. Cheese is awesome. What do you got?
I have also the traditional buffalo and the hot bacon.
Oh, so you strayed from your friend over
Yes,
there.
I did.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, here we go.
This is always good.
Yeah.
This is always good.
Right. Help
Cheese
yourself.
curds
Right.
are delicious. I know because you know where I'm from.
Where are you from?
Tusker, Isles, Holmes County area.
All right, there you go. Yeah.
Cheese is always a good thing. Oh
That's all
my
over.
gosh. that
They're
stuff
really,
is
it's
awesome.
so good.
Delicious.
So good.
Everything
So
is delicious.
what's your favorite beer on the menu?
I'm only into my third right now, but so far that what was it called? The Rosaw Kinsman. It's 11%er, but it was solid,
Oh,
and it didn't taste like 11%.
Do you know?
It was smooth.
Do you know, that's how I got hungry today. I had one when we first got here. It explains a lot, but you guys enjoy your food.
Thanks.
Thank
It's
you.
nice talking to you today.
You too.
Thanks for joining us on our segment
You're very
here at
welcome.
OH-Brew.
You're very welcome.
All right, as promised, we always talk to patrons on certain segments of OH-Brew, and this time around, we're going to talk to Bob Boss here. Bob Boss, here in Mount Vernon, is associated with the First Knox National Bank, just kind of right across the street, but he is a Mug Club member here at the brewery, and he's Mug Club number 10. Bob, what do you think of this place? This is awesome.
We love it here. We have a big group from the bank that comes over here. We're all Mug Club members. Our favorite night is Wednesday because
Why
that's
is
Mug
Wednesday?
Club
Mug
member
Club
night. Okay, so you get a discount on your beverage, and it's a great reason to come here on Wednesday night.
I bet you love the food and entertaining
Oh.
clients from the bank and whatnot.
Absolutely, that food is great. We've had a lot of people come here and say, "Well, I'm coming back there." It's really, really good. Barbecue, you just gotta love it.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank Bob for joining us on this episode of OH-Brew. And just remember, we're always in search of Ohio's finest beers, and so is everybody else, like Bob Boss. We would like to thank everybody at the Stein Brewing Company for their hospitality, and make sure to join us for the next episode as we are in search of Ohio's finest beers.